In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing another pair of Vivo barefoot shoes for you, the Primus Lite III in botanical green. As always, I'll be sharing a general overview of the characteristics of them, what they're made of, my reasons for buying them, what they're replacing, and my honest opinion of what I love and maybe don't love so much about them. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks for joining me. So if you're new here, my name is Meg. Welcome to Red Curl Vegan. If you're already subscribed or you've stumbled across my videos in the past, then you might know that I am a huge advocate for wearing minimalist or zero drop footwear. So I've got another pair of Vivos to review for you today, but for the first time ever since embarking on my barefoot shoe journey 2.5 years ago, these were actually brand new, unlike my current collection of Vivo barefoot shoes, which have all been secondhand and refurbished by Revivo. So I have already owned a pair of Primus Lite IIIs in the past. They were grey and I reviewed them on my channel about 2 years ago. However, I did shortly afterwards return them to Revivo, although I don't entirely remember my reasons for this, so I'm quite excited to own another pair of these. So I actually bought these on eBay and I'm still quite shocked myself that I swayed away from my usual beloved Revivo, but on balance I think these were actually much better value. So these cost me £110, like I said, they're brand new, they've never been worn. I went onto Vivo Barefoot's main new website and they're selling Primus Lite IIIs at the moment for £135. I also checked on Revivo to find a similar shoe and I found some in an excellent condition, which is basically the best condition that you can get other than never worn or brand new, and they were £100. So I feel that on balance at £110 brand new, this was a pretty good deal. So the reason I don't usually buy barefoot shoes on eBay is simply because they've been worn by somebody else previously and they basically just turn up in whatever condition they're in. Whereas on Revivo, whilst the shoes are second-hand and pre-loved, they've been refurbished and you also have the luxury of being able to return them if they don't feel right. Everybody's feet are different, everybody walks in a different way, everybody wears their shoes in differently. So when you buy them on eBay, usually from a private seller, you don't have the option of being able to return them if they don't quite feel right on your feet, whereas on Revivo you have that option. But on this occasion, I think because they're brand new, the seller I bought these from do actually accept returns, so this has given me a bit more flexibility. So these are a UK size 6 or EU 39, so I was very lucky to find these in my actual size in the colour that I wanted. They're made from recycled animal-free materials and the insoles are recycled as well. These are Vivo's most basic outsole, so as close to the ground as you could possibly get, with a total 4mm of thickness, which is 2mm of tread depth and a 2mm base sole. These are also puncture resistant soles as well. So these are classed as botanical green, but from my experience of Vivos, they are quite different to the usual botanical green that I've seen before, particularly on this side, which I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that in this lighting, but they have like this quite dark speckled part of plastic on the shoe here, which almost has a midnight blue hue to it, which I'm not really a fan of. And then following around in the main part of the shoe, you've got this darker green, but lighter than the speckled part here, and then you've got the mesh, the laces, the panel on the side, a bit of mesh on the back, and the ankle sleeve part here, which is a lighter, slightly more khaki olive green, which is actually what I prefer. So I did take a bit of a punt with these, one because I bought them on eBay like I said and I usually buy from Revivo, but also because of the colour. Now I'm actually looking for a green athletic sporty shoe replacement, and I have had my eye for quite a long time now on the Kasanas, I think they're called, in olive green, which I'll pop a photo up of on the screen so that you can see what I mean. That's actually the colour I'm really after. It's more of an earthy, lighter khaki green rather than this very dark forest green that I'm looking for. They are on Revivo, but they've never got my size. They're either 3 sizes too big or 3 sizes too small. So I think I just basically got a little bit fed up and I took a punt and I decided to look on eBay. I will be honest, it was quite lucky that I found a pair in my size in green. That is the colour that I'm looking for, whilst they are a little bit darker than I would like. So yeah, I've taken a bit of a risk and I think I got a bit fed up of waiting for Revivo to bring out a second-hand pair of Kasanas, but I'm going to still keep my eye on them and continue to think about these and deliberate whether they're worth keeping. So these are basically replacing, potentially, these old black GeoRacer knits, which I have also reviewed on my channel previously. Now the reason for this, if you're familiar with my channel, you might have seen a video that I did a couple of months ago where I did an updated wardrobe tour. In that video I explained that I only wear a handful of colours. Basically I have a small colour scheme, all earthy autumnal colours, greens and browns, some black during the winter, and variations of browns and green basically. So whilst there is nothing wrong with these, they're very comfortable, I enjoy wearing them. I don't particularly love them as much anymore as when I first bought them, and I've recently sort of minimised my wardrobe even more by getting rid of greys and whites and also quite a bit of black in the in-between seasons, if that makes sense. So I still wear black in the winter, like chunky coats and jeans and jumpers and that kind of thing, but I've changed my athletic wear, for example my yoga clothes, to all earthy colours rather than the greys and blacks that it was before. So whilst it might seem very specific and a little bit precise to want to change a pair of shoes just purely based on the colour of them when these were perfectly comfortable, I think it's important to remember that you have to enjoy what you're wearing. And when you're spending £110 on a pair of shoes that are also replacing another pair of shoes, so it's not like I'm owning an extra pair, they have to tick the right boxes. And for me personally, as a frugal person, they have to be pretty much perfect. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with these particularly. They're very comfortable. They are a bit more flexible than these, I will say, but I'm just not really enamoured with them anymore. The colour of them doesn't really tie in with my wardrobe, and I'm trying to minimise my wardrobe even more, which for me personally is really only possible by sticking to a very minimal amount of colours. I feel that autumnal earthy colours suit me better, and these just aren't really like attracting me anymore, if that makes sense. So that's what these are potentially replacing. However, upon preparing for filming today's video, I did slightly notice a little bit, and we're only talking a millimetre or two, so nothing extreme, difference in length. So I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see this on camera, but the black GeoRacer knits do appear about a millimetre or so longer in the front of the toe. However, on the flip side, these do seem to be a little bit, ever so slightly wider in general. These seem to feel and look like a slightly narrower shoe, whereas these seem to come out a little bit on the side. So whilst these feel a little bit more rigid, which I also think is due to the fact that they're new, these were second hand when I bought them, obviously refurbished by Revivo and refreshed beautifully, but I've also been wearing them for about a year as well. So I'm hoping that's the reason why, because the soles are exactly the same, Vivobarefoots basic Primus Lite sole, even though these are GeoRacers. So I'm hoping that it's because they're new, but I will say that it will form part of my decision as to whether I keep them or not, along with the colour of them. And also this toe, the big toe part here, which is accentuated in the plastic material, same on this one, although you can't quite see it as much, is a lot harder in the Primus Lite 3s, whereas this is completely malleable and flexible, and in general they just feel a little bit less rigid. These don't feel like they've got as much give. I do really like the ankle sleeve cuff here. I mean, it's not very exaggerated compared to other shoes I've got, but I do kind of like that feel around the ankle, whereas these don't really have that, but they do have a slightly suede effect on the inside and a nice soft cushioned heel. So in terms of typical barefoot shoe, zero drop shoe, minimalist shoe characteristics, these obviously tick all of those boxes, synonymous of all Vivobarefoot shoes. Very, very lightweight, flexible. Whilst not as flexible as the GeoRacer knits, they're still incredibly flexible. They have a zero drop sole, and as I said earlier, a very, very thin sole, pretty much as close to the ground as you could possibly get. and they also have a nice wide toe box. All of these things are really, really important because basically they allow our feet and the muscles in our feet and our toes to move as close to natural as possible. In today's society, for a lot of us, it isn't possible to walk barefoot. I would love to, I wish that I could, but sometimes it's not socially acceptable, sometimes it's not safe to do so. So basically this is your next best option. Nice wide toe box to allow the toes to spread naturally so that they can keep you balanced and also do what they're supposed to do, which is feel the ground beneath you and send messages to the brain. Also in that respect, because the soles are so thin and there's no heel, there's zero drop, that also allows the soles of the feet to send messages to the brain as well. And they are straight on the big toe side so that you don't run into any potential bunion problems, which is quite a common issue nowadays, unfortunately, or overlapping toes. In conventional mainstream shoes, you usually have a pointed V-shaped toe box, which is extremely unhealthy. Not only is it pushing your toes into an unnatural position, but it's also not allowing your feet to work and spread and move in the way that they should be. And then on top of that, it also weakens the muscles in your feet. And anything that weakens your feet naturally has a knock-on effect with the rest of your body, basically. So you want to be as close to the ground as possible. You want to be as flat naturally as possible. You want to have as much space for your toes to spread as possible, and you want the least amount of material possible that isn't weighing your foot down. So they are very, very comfortable, and I also tried them on with toe socks, which I explained in my recent videos has become my new sort of parameter of judgment to test basically whether the toe box is wide enough. And they were comfortable, but they did feel a slightly bit on the snug side, although nothing that I would be worried about because I wouldn't ever wear them with anything thicker than the toe socks I tried these on with. And if anything, the other toe socks I own are even thinner. These aren't really a winter shoe, they're just more of a casual walking shoe in between seasons, in my opinion, because they're not waterproof. They'll be completely useless in the rain, and they're also not going to provide much protection from the cold. So they're really for going to yoga or for any sort of athletic environment, basically. So I'm happy with the toe socks that I tried them on with. They're very, very comfortable. I haven't worn them outdoors yet because I only just got them in the post a few days ago, but usually whenever I try barefoot shoes on in the house, when I go outdoors, there's no difference in comfort. Like I said, it will be a deciding factor on the colour. I'll try them on with various different outfits, which I'll pop in clips on the screen for you to see what they look like, and then you can sort of get an idea of what I meant about my colour scheme. Whether the flexibility of them worries me, but really just whether they're worth the investment. As a frugal person who tries to live as mindfully and intentionally as possible, whenever I acquire anything new or secondhand or bring something into my home, I always ask myself 4 basic questions. So, is this really a necessary purchase? Does it make financial sense? Is there anything else in my home already that I could use instead? And am I going to get enough regular use or wear out of this item for it to be worth keeping? So those are the questions that I'll ask myself. Like I say, I'll try them on with different outfits. I will give myself a couple of days to think about it and to decide whether they're worth it, because these Geo Racer knits are very, very comfortable, but like I said, I'm just not massively in love with them anymore. So I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. As always though, do let me know in the comments section if you feel I missed anything out, or if there's anything else you'd like to know, or you have your own barefoot shoe journey that you'd like to share. I really do love reading all your comments, and I also take all of them on board as constructive feedback, because ultimately I want to grow and improve as a content creator, but most importantly I want to make sure I'm delivering the right content to you and the right reviews. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, of course, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I know I say this every time, but your support really does mean the world to me as a small content creator. It encourages me to keep filming, and it encourages me to overcome my camera nerves and my filming anxiety. So yeah, I am really, really grateful grateful for every one of you that subscribes and comes along on the journey with me. Make sure to hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss out on any upcoming barefoot shoe review videos, which I'm sure there will be coming soon. And in the meantime, take care and stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.